You can show us and then start talking and we'll just leave it. Are we really doing this right now?
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. In order to explore what happened on this day, I will share with you the background of events that ended up leading to America's entry into World War II. The sun was peaking just over the horizon. Almost all the soldiers and sailors were still tucked in their bunks. Families were starting to gather for their usual Sunday morning church services. But little did everyone know that today would change history forever. Majority of the population knows the general facts about Pearl Harbor and the significance it had on America entering the war. But most people don't know about the events that took place just before the attack. I would like to share certain things with you that led to the attack on Pearl Harbor, along with the background of the events so that it can be better understood. From a year to a month, and even days before leading to the attack, peace talks grew unsuccessful. Japan was convinced that the agreement wouldn't be reached, and they eventually started planning their attack months before the final meeting between the two. As peace talks between Japan and the United States were found to be mere diversion, the United States put the whole Pacific Fleet on alert for an attack that grew imminent. In days leading up to December 7th, it was found by military intelligence that peace talks between Japan and the U.S. had failed. Military intelligence began to suspect that attack was coming, but were unclear when and where it would take place. Advisors in Washington began to fear the worst, as they started intercepting Japanese transmissions. A Japanese naval fleet had fell off American radars and were no longer being tracked. The U.S. had no idea where this fleet was or why they went into hiding. After several days of attempting to decode Japanese transmissions, it was finally found out that the attack was imminent. Still in question, though, was when and where. It was decided by advisors in Washington to have the U.S. Navy put the Pacific Fleet on alert. The fleet returned to Pearl Harbor, where all of the ships and aircraft were grouped together, as this should make a ground attack more complicated. All the aircraft were grouped together at two separate airfields. All ships gathered in the harbor. How Japan officially gathered the information is unknown, but both airfields and the harbor were the only three targets that they were sent to attack. Just before 0800 hours on December 7th, Japan launched its attack from the missing naval fleet just off the coast of Hawaii. Almost 200 enemy aircraft launched from the naval fleet with three targets in mind. As the Japanese aircraft approached, they are picked up on the outdated radar systems. When it was investigated, it was determined that the U.S. planes were on schedule to come in from California. This was mistakenly led to believe that they were the Japanese aircraft. The radar systems were old and had been in talks of being replaced where specific aircraft could be identified. Unfortunately, this did not happen in time, and the aircraft could not be identified as they approached, leading everyone to believe that it was in fact the U.S. planes that were on the scheduled log. The Japanese fighters began their attack, striking both airfields and the harbor. With the ships and planes grouped together for the purpose of making the ground attack more complicated, it made it that much easier for an airstrike to be successful. After roughly an hour, over 280 aircraft had been destroyed, along with both airfields that were targeted. 21 ships had either been destroyed or damaged. When it was all said and done, it was a successful and devastating attack for the Japanese. All their targets destroyed, destroying the only force in which could stop Japan from invading other Pacific islands. Over 2,400 American lives were lost. Even though the attack was successful, Japanese leaders feared the worst. A Japanese naval marshal general, Ishiroku Yamamoto, actually quoted, "I fear all we have done is awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve." This quote is in reference to the attack being the cause that America would enter the war and eventually win the war along with their allies. Over the years, there have been several articles, books, and even movies to tell the story of Pearl Harbor. Though neither of the movies cover each and every fact, much can still be learned. I encourage you to take some time to read up on these events, on what happened this day. It will forever be remembered as a date which will live in infamy. I have here three pictures that I'm going to pass around, showing one picture of the USS Arizona, one picture of the USS Utah, and another picture that is showing the airfields that were all attacked on this day. Thank you.